Hey guys, Ty Lord coming at you with a DVD pickup video. I have quite a few DVD pickups I'm excited to talk about, and I have a package from Physical Media Mac over at Dvdeez and Nuts and Popcorn, always sending me stuff. I'm really excited to talk about the movies I've been watching and a couple other pickups. I'll get to the box that Mr. PMM sent me. I was about to take all this crap into Rasputin's and get credit for it right now. I could probably get a couple of bucks, but I want to wait and see. Maybe he wants me to watch some of this trash. I hope not, anyway. But I don't know. I think there's some good ones in here. I see a couple that that look like they might tickle my fancy. Anyway, I'm not going to go into detail or talk about these or anything. I'm just going to pop them up really fast. The Palmer Supremacy with Lance Hendrickson and a few other kids on there. Looks like that's definitely got to be a Dollar Tree or $1.25 Bush still. Roadkill, which looks kind of cool on the cover. It's like a killer vulture, but Sci-Fi original. I don't know about that. Oh, it's just sealed though. Looks like it has some gore on the back. Don't know about that one. He pretty much went over this whole movie, so it feels like I've seen it before. The Big Ugly with Ron Perlman and Vinnie Jones and Malcolm McDowell. So good cast on there. I don't know if I'll watch that or not. The Strangers Prey at Night, unrated. I haven't seen these. They look kind of interesting. I don't know if it's a home invasion movie or what type of deal this is, but I haven't seen any of those yet. This looks like it'll be really entertaining. Sheborg, part woman, part machine, total destruction. I wonder what year this was made. 2016. Delta Heat with Anthony Edwards and Lance Hendrickson again. Anthony Edwards was from Top Gun, right? And ER. Yeah, that's him, yeah. And Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know anything about that one. Delta Heat, an LA cop with a mission, an ex-cop with an attitude. The heat's on in New Orleans. Maybe it's a cool buddy cop movie. I might keep that one. Oh man. Okay, I really like Dolph Lundgren. Oh, and this might be a horror movie. Demon Slaying Mayhem or Demon Killing Mayhem with Dolph Lundgren. I haven't really been enjoying a lot of his new movies. A few of them I like, but some of them I haven't really gotten into. This might be entertaining. Looks like it's demons or vampires he's fighting with. Looks like a cool cowboy or something, or a Van Helsing type guy. The Guest with Dan Stevens, Maika Monroe. It's big, it's bold, it's badass. I don't know anything about this. Action movie, maybe? I don't remember if he talked about this. Here's a ninja movie. I think Mario sent, or LT Barone sent him that one. I don't have this one, so I might keep it. I'm a fan of Chris Farley. Chris Rock is in it. I know the guy that plays Liu Kang is in there. Isn't he? Is his name Robin Shue? I thought he was in this. Maybe not. I think it's like a spoof comedy ninja movie. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. The Divine Move. This looks like a kung fu movie he sent me because I like the martial art movies. I might watch that one. Looks like it's Chinese or Korean. Oh, look at that one. Can you see all this crap? Yeah. Another Dolph Lundgren and Junior Martinez, or JR Martinez, Safe. Is that Safe 3 or Safe with a 3? I don't know anything about that one. Sea, Air, Fire, Rescue. Oh, it's a fireman rescue type deal. I see a Baywatch babe on the back. I don't know if I should probably try getting into the Dolph Lundgren stuff. So I haven't seen this zombie movie, Zombie Honeymoon. Is this a cult classic or something? I don't remember ever seeing this. I know it's been around for maybe 10 or 20 years. Gave me nightmares, made me wake up screaming. Is it a scary thing? I was thinking maybe it was a comedy. I think it is romance, drama, horror type deal. I don't know what this Blu-ray is. Spree. Is this a found footage? Oh my god, there. I see old David Arquette on the back. What is this? Oh yeah, I think Jeff was talking about this one. And then this one I'm interested in, but I'd probably like to watch Wolf Cop 1 first. This is a Wolf Cop sequel. This might be a fun, cheesy movie. Anyway, and Ant from the deadliest film ever made. This might be a spooky film. This might be a found footage one. I don't know anything about that one. It's October now, so I should start watching the scary movie BKO Bangkok Knockouts from director of Born to Fight. There's another, looks like a Thai action kung fu movie. This might be good. That might be right up my alley. So glad he sent me some of those. I don't think I'm gonna watch every single one of them unless he really wants me to. Yeah, and then on to a couple pickups I haven't watched yet. I was really jazzed about finding this one for $1 at Rasputin's. I've been looking for it for a while. Vampire Assassin. I guess this is and it's a David Huey movie. I've been watching a lot of his movies, David Huey Productions, if it's the same guy. But I've been really looking forward to watching this. It's supposed to be like one of the most reviewed movies on the internet. Like, it's supposed to be really bad and everyone makes fun of it. It's a martial art vampire movie, but I really like the cast here. Ron Hall, he's the director of it too. Ron Hall must be the vampire assassin. He's been in a lot of movies I like. A lot of them with Keith Apollo Cook, like low budget martial art movies. This guy's badass, like really underrated. I think he might actually be making a comeback. I know he's starting like a comic book, and he might be making a few more movies. So I'm excited for that. But I've never seen this movie. I've seen him in all those Dale Apollo Cook movies, and he was that guy. I don't know if anyone's seen Bloodsport 2, but he was the black guy that had kind of like the Chinese outfit on, and he was doing all the cool moves. Like, he stole the show in Bloodsport 2. But that was him. Anyway, this movie, I've always wanted to see it. It's got Rudy Ray Moore from Dolomite. I don't know when this is made. Is Rudy Ray Moore still around, or is he still alive? And then Gerald Okamura. I love pretty much everything he's in. You've seen Gerald Okamura. He's the kind of like the short, kind of buffed Chinese guy, or a Japanese guy, Asian guy. He's bald. He has like a mustache usually. He always has weapons like blades. He was in Big Trouble Little China. He always plays little roles in big movies or little roles in low budget movies. I've seen him in hundreds, or maybe not hundreds, like dozens and dozens of movies. Gerald Okamura. Rich is really cool. So I'm glad to have this one. PG-13. Here's another Halloween movie for me for October to watch. Yeah. And then this other one, Action Movie Pack. I've seen this one before. I love Best of the Best 3 with Best of the Best with Philip Ree. And what's her name's in there? Gina Gershon's is his like love interest, and Shooter McGavin from from Happy Gilmore. I forget that actor's name. And then one of kind of like the sinister characters in this is Arlie Ermy is in here. This is a cool movie. I think I've talked about it before. Best of the Best 3. It's directed by Philip Ree too. I think it's a pretty underrated action movie. But the one I haven't seen Men of War or Driven to Kill. I don't know if I want to see that. I should try it out though with Seagal. I never know if they're going to be good or bad. or I don't know if I'm gonna like them or not, is what I was trying to say. Mask of Death is the one I'm really interested in. I'm a big fan of all of this cast right here. Lorenzo Lamas, Radon Chong, Billy D. Williams. It looks like he has does he have a mask on or something in his machine gun or a shotgun? So I've been wanting to watch that one. It's probably from the 90s. It's kind of annoying when these movies don't have the year the movie's made on the back. Okay, now on to the movies I watched. And I should have just made a separate video for this because I'm probably going to go on for days. So I talked about this one last week. I got off of Vinegar Syndrome, Red Sun Rising with Don the Dragon Wilson, Michael Ironside, and what's her name from Terry Farrell from Star Trek. Oh, there she is. Yeah, really lovely. So this is an interesting movie. I hadn't watched it in a while. It's probably one of Don the Dragon's best movies. It might not, if it probably is his best movie, probably the highest budget. I think it was an HBO release, and I think it made the most, got the most views or the highest rated on HBO that year in '94 or whatever. So it's probably the highest budget, nicest looking, best acted Don the Dragon Wilson movie. I don't know if it's my favorite because I kind of like some of the cheesier ones. This one has some cheese, but it's a pretty good action buddy cop romance, supernatural martial arts gang movie. Really cool actors in this, and the director is. I watched all the extras on this. It's really interesting. Like this, for some old movie no one's ever even heard of. Besides me, this is packed full of interesting extras, like all kinds of interviews from like the producers, the writers, the directors, the cast members. One guy, I think like the director of photography, like goes on and pretty much gives like a freaking lecture on filmmaking and cameras and all this stuff. It's really interesting stuff. Yeah, the director, what was his name? He's an Englishman that directed this. Seems like a really chill guy. Like he just does his thing and takes input from the actors and gets the job done really well. And then the producer was a pretty cool guy too. Like he was a martial artist himself. He was a buddy of Don Wilson. I think it might be his agent. And Art Camacho, the fight choreographer, was on here. James Liu was in here as the villain. Speaking of all these guys, Don the Dragon Wilson, a lot of the stuff in the extras I already knew about from watching interviews, mostly on my buddy Corey's channel. He's interviewed like a lot of these guys, so I've heard a lot of these stories before. He's interviewed Don Wilson, he's interviewed James Liu, he's interviewed Art Camacho, even Stoney Jackson, one of the actors in here, he's interviewed. They've been in all kinds of other movies. Oh, speaking of that, Gerald Okamura, I think he's interviewed him before. Check out Hardcore Graveyard, Corey over there. Really underrated channel. Anyway, the movie itself, it's kind of like a reverse, what was that, Hard Rain or Heavy, with Michael Douglas, the one where he went to Japan. This one is about Don the Dragon Wilson's character. He's a cop in Japan. It's kind of like a classic samurai versus ninja, only it's modern. So he's like a cop, and the bad guy is like the ninja is kind of like Yakuza or some kind of gangster. Anyway, his buddy gets killed. It's Yuki. What's that guy's name? Yuki. The guy that plays Chosen on Karate Kid 2 is his partner in Japan, and they're trying to bust this gang leader, and his buddy gets killed. The leader of the gang is that Kuksu Tech. He played Lieutenant Hip on The Man with the Golden Gun. I like that actor. I think he's been in a Missing in Action. He was the bad guy, or Delta Force, one of those. He's a cool actor. He's the bad guy in this. But his henchman, the main bad guy in this, is James Liu, who's he's kind of like, he kind of reminds me of a vampire. He's a gangster assassin ninja from Japan, and he has like shark eyes. and he's like a ladies man, like he seduces the ladies like a vampire, and then he goes in there and kills them. But he has like supernatural death touch powers, like Dim Mak. Like he can kill people with his touch, or make them die several minutes later. He kills Don the Dragon Wilson's buddy character. Oh, and then Master Tatsu from Ninja Turtles is in here at the beginning. But anyway, the gangsters run away to America. Don the Dragon Wilson follows. Meets up with the very beautiful Terry Farrell, who's a cop. And I guess that role was written for his buddy, Chris Penn. I guess Chris Penn and Don the Dragon Wilson came up with this script, and they wrote it as a buddy cop movie, but Chris Penn had to go on to do bigger things, so Terry Farrell took over, and it kind of turned into more of a romance cop movie instead of a buddy cop. But you could tell some of the material was still there. Like, she had this big red Cadillac, and she would say all kinds of racist things, like it's kind of weird to hear like a pretty nice looking girl like that say all this racial stuff about Japanese people. You could tell it's probably written for Chris Penn. Like, I could see him saying all that racial stuff, like being a jerk. But she's always making all these like Asian insults towards Don the Dragon Wilson. Eventually they respect each other and they fall in love. His sensei is his brother, his partner who got killed. His uncle is Mako from Conan the Barbarian, and you know Mako. He's that kind of. I think he passed away. He has a really cool voice, really good actor. I think he even like was nominated for an award back in in a movie with Steve McQueen. But he's in here as kind of his sensei, kind of like the Yoda type character. And he's a cool character. Like, he's like some kind of a priest or something, martial arts priest, but he's like a ladies man now. He's always drinking, and he's a funny guy. He always has all these beautiful women around him, but he's teaching him about the guy he has to face is like the most evil man in the world, and he has to be trained by Mako to take on this guy, James Liu. And James Liu is awesome in it. I've never seen him like in a big acting role, but he plays like a Bela Lugosi type, like ninja vampire type guy in this. Like, he has a really cool look, James Liu. Michael Ironside's the police chief of and then there's a lot of gang wars. It's a cool plot lot where like the FBI and the cops are crooked, and they're trying to and they're working with the Japanese ninjas to like arms dealing, like trying to get the gangs to fight against each other, so they can sell their arms or get more funding for the cops or whatever. Really cool stuff though. Yeah, okay, I think I've talked about that one more enough. Yeah, I recommend this one though. It looks really good on the, I forgot to mention the print of this, the Blu-ray. It looks really good. I've never seen it look that good. It was only on VHS and on cable before. And then, oh man, this is the one Jeff recommended. I got this collection. It was at Rasputin's. It was $4. TForce is the one that he told me about, and everything he hyped it up to be, it was. I'm not going to go into detail. Go watch his crap if you want to hear about it. But this is a fantastic Richard Pepin movie, PM Entertainment. Like, that's top of the line, straight to video action right there. PM Entertainment, Joseph Merhi, Richard Pepin. Richard Pepin directed this one. It's a sort of a dystopian type buddy cop cyborg movie. It's got this group of cyborgs is like the SWAT team. They go in to take out terrorists, but they screw up. They botch them. They don't really botch this hostage situation, but they just take out everyone. They don't care. Like, the robots are programmed to do the most efficient thing, so they just take out the guys no matter what. And it's led by a really underrated martial arts action guy, that team of robots. So it's Evan Lurie. I don't know if I know he's been in a couple big movies, but mostly he plays in these low budget things. And then the main guy in here, Jack Scalia, he's mostly from like TV shows and soap operas I didn't know about, but he's badass in this. He's like a hardened cop, like something Bruce Willis would play, maybe even more badass than John McClane. Like, and he hates robots. Like, he's always talking trash about cyborgs and androids. But so this team of bad guy robots, the president orders them to be disassembled because they screwed up on this mission. And the president is actually Aaron Gray from Buck Rogers. He's freaking gorgeous. This is probably many years after Buck Rogers, but she's still gorgeous. She plays the president in this, and she somehow like is connected to Jack Scalia's character. Like they were an item before. All kinds of cool. But these cyborgs mess up, so they're gonna get disassembled. But then they kind of like take on their own. They don't take orders anymore from who created them, and they go against the system. But one guy stays behind and teams up with Jack Scalia, and this guy's name is Bobby Johnston. Bobby Johnston is the good cyborg, and then they're going against the bad. He's going against the bad cyborgs with Jack Scalia, and it turns into a buddy cop thing, very similar to Android Cop with Michael Jai White. But this is way before that, and this is kind of, I think this is way better. I like the chemistry between Bobby Johnson and Jack Scalia's character. Like, he hates cyborgs, and this guy's always trying to, he's always, he's like a computer. Like, he's thinking of the most efficient way to do things. It reminds me a lot of Android Cop with Michael Jai White. But lots of good action, lots of good fighting, blowing up. Cool movie, like pretty well written too. Like a lot of these movies, I would recommend this movie. Like I said, Evan Laurie was a good villain in that. Speaking of him, here's another one with him in it, and he plays the bad guy in this, Hologram Man. And this has Joe Lara, another really underrated 90s action straight-to-video star. Of course, he's a cop. He catches, kind of reminds me of Demolition Man. He catches Evan Lurie's character, who's like a terrorist leader, and somehow they cryo-freeze these guys. And oh man, yeah, they cryo-freeze these guys. And then after so many years, like, they're trying to reprogram him, and they pull him out as a hologram to go before the panel of judges or lawmakers to see. And it's like a dystopian future. And Michael Nouri, I'll get to him later. He's the president. He's really crooked. It's like a dystopian future. Joe Lara is a cop with his hot girlfriend who plays a part in the story. Anyway, Joe. The bad guy, the terrorist, he's in cryo freeze, and they bring him up in a hologram form because they see if he's rehabilitated, and he's like, no, I ain't rehabilitated. Somehow his team of hackers gets into the system and gets him out of there as a hologram. So he's like an unstoppable hologram guy, and his head hacker is that little guy from Blade Runner. You know, the little guy that has premature aging. He's kind of like the main hacker. He's kind of funny in this. And then Evan Lurie's main thug is Tiny Lister. Zeus is in here from Friday. No Holds Barred, WrestleMania, or no, he wasn't in a WrestleMania, SummerSlam. So anyway, he gets away. Evan Lurie gets away as a hologram. So he can just do whatever he wants. He has unlimited power. He can't be killed. He goes back to his home base, and they build some kind of fake skin for him to put over the hologram that has like density, so he can like touch stuff and pick stuff up and beat up people now. And so anyway, Joe Lara is after him. He's a cool action star. I like him in Steel Frontier, and I gotta watch Cyborg. Is it called Cyborg Gladiator with? Oh, American Cyborg. That's the one I haven't seen with him, but he's cool in this. Eventually, he becomes a hologram man, and there's a fight between hologram men, and he's working for the president, but the president's crooked. So eventually this guy gets so much power, he says, I'm calling the shots now to Michael Nuri, who's the president. And then speaking of Michael Nuri, I'll go on the next one. I watched this movie, The Hidden, with Kyle MacLachlan and Michael Nuri, another buddy cop deal. This one was recommended on, I watched a video that Vampire Mike did from Sega CD Universe. He was talking about movies that remind him of Twin Peaks, or Twin Peak-esque movies. This was one of them, and I never heard of it. It came out before Twin Peaks, like 3 years before, but it's got Kyle MacLachlan, and he plays an FBI agent on this weird case, just like Twin Peaks. He almost seems like Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks. It's really surreal. Like I didn't even know about this movie. It came out, pardon me. It came out before Twin Peaks. It's getting hot in here. He's in it. He's an FBI agent following this killer. And this movie is so freaking badass. It's like a buddy cop action Terminator horror movie from the 80s. This super overlooked, underrated gem of the 80s. It says it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets the Terminator. So there's like this killer being. I don't want to ruin it, but it okay, so I'll just say random people, just everyday people, all of a sudden turn into a Terminator. And you know why? They just go on killing sprees. They just do whatever they want. They steal the fanciest car they could find. They just murder people. Whatever they want, they take it. And they're hard to kill. Like, you can shoot them over and over. They don't die. Kyle MacLachlan's character is after this creature, or this person, whatever it is, and Michael Nuri is the cop. They team up with her, but it's like a buddy cop movie. They don't really get along at first, but then like he meets his family and they get along. Where he reminds me a lot of Harry Truman from Twin Peaks. That's another really weird, bizarre thing. Like they remind me of Cooper and Truman from Twin Peaks. It's not the same actor, but it kind of has the same hairdo. It kind of looks similar. Yeah, but this is like the Terminator, like the way that this killer, these big shootouts and the rampages this killer goes on. All kinds of cool, a really cool twist at the end. I'm gonna tell you, this is like, I'm not gonna give away any more of it. I'm just gonna say this is like Twin Peaks meets Grand Theft Auto, meets the Terminator, meets Jason Goes to Hell. But in the 80s, this movie is freaking awesome. You got to check this out. I don't know if it's on Tubi or no, I think it is on Tubi, but find some way to watch this thing. Another collection here recommended by the PMM Terminator collection. Speaking of the Terminator, and there's not really any Terminators on here. The ones he highlighted that I watched are really, really awesome. Shadow Chaser with Frank Zagarino, really good cast. Martin Cove, Meg Foster, really love all of them. And then I watched Cyber Vengeance. I'll talk about Shadow Chaser first. That Shadow Chaser another one kind of like TForce, so it kind of reminds me of Die Hard in a building. It's like a hospital building. Frank Zagarino is part of this government project. He's a cyborg. Reminds me of the Terminator. He looks like Duke Nukem. He's super jacked in this blonde hair, like military kind of cut, really buffed. He has like yellow eyes, contact lenses, like super jacked. He's some kind of cyborg experiment, and he gets away. He breaks out of the facility, goes away, and he joins up with this group of terrorists, and they overtake this hospital, and they take the president's daughter hostage. The president's daughter is played by Meg Foster. She's one of my favorite actresses. She's the one with the pretty blue eyes. She was in He-Man, and she was in They Live. And she's super hot in this. Like, she's like a go-getter. Like, she's shooting machine guns, while wearing like a fancy like she was there for like a dinner conference or something, and so she has like this fancy dress with high heels and a machine gun. Like she's super awesome in this movie. This one also kind of reminds me of Demolition Man, because they take a guy out of cryo freeze that's they think he's the architect that built the building, so they could go in and find a way to get in there and get these terrorists, and led by the robot Frank Zagarino. They get Martin Kove out. They think he's the architect, but somehow the guy was stoned, like the guy that ran the cryo freeze thing. He was stoned, and he got the wrong guy. And Martin Kove's character is an ex-football player that got sent to prison for killing someone in a bar fight. Like, he said it was self-defense, but he just plays along like he's the architect just so he doesn't have to go back in the cryo freeze. So he's pretty much the John McClane of this movie. This is like, Martin Kove's hecka cool, and this is like his own Die Hard movie. Shadow Chaser. Meg Ryan's the leading lady. Meg Foster's the leading lady. The guy that runs the program that builds the robots, that really cool voice. He's kind of like a big German or Scandinavian guy. He's kind of old. He has a really cool voice. I can't think of the actor's name. Jack Ackland. I think he was like in a Lethal Weapon or a Bill and Ted 2. But anyway, it's Die Hard. So Martin Kove and Meg Foster are taking out all these guys, the terrorists, until the last one. He's so hard to kill. Frank Zagarino's character, the robot, he's a super cool cyborg, like Terminator type character in this. This is like Terminator meets Die Hard. Anyway, the other one, Cyber Vengeance. I thought I had seen that one before. Cyber Vengeance. It's got Matthias Hughes is in there very briefly. You know, that big blonde Swedish guy. He's really always in a martial art movies. Always plays a bad guy. He's in there, and Robert Davi is the bad guy. One of my favorite actors of all time. He's even cool, and he's cool in this as heck. He's as the villain. Best Bond villain ever, Franz Sanchez in License to Kill. Robert Davi, but he plays the villain in Cyber Vengeance. Cyber Vengeance kind of reminds me of Running Man, but with computers. Like, the criminals in the prison play this game of death. It's like a video game. Like, so any scenario from any time period, you can you put them in like some kind of like a war game, and if you die in there, you get executed or whatever. Robert Davi runs the whole program, and he has these group of hunters. There's like a southern guy. He's like a southern hunter. He kind of has like a southern accent. He has a curly mustache. He's kind of like a hunter type. Then there's a German guy and another dude in there. They're like the main hunter killer guys. Anyway, the lead actor in this, I haven't really seen him in anything else that I can remember. His name is it must be Lynn Baxter. He plays kind of like this nerdy guy with a really hot wife, but he's super good at video games, and he knows his history. Like, he's really a history nerd, and he's good at martial arts from playing all these martial art games. He's always trying to fight Matthias Hughes in this computer program. He's like the highest level boss in any game, and the main character is trying to always beat him, and he can't do it. But he has a hot wife that works for the company, the Robert Davi's company. But it kind of turns into like a sort of a Total Recall type thing. I don't want to give it away too much, but anyway, he ends up getting captured, and he's a good fighter from playing so many games. So he goes into all these scenarios like Old West, like dog fighting, like World War I, dog fighting planes, Wild West, like gangster, like Al Capone with machine gun type battlefields, like American Revolution, all kinds of different scenarios he goes through with a couple buddies, like fellow prisoners. So it's kind of like the Running Man, but really surreal. Like, inside of a video game, so there's all kinds of different time periods for the battlefields. He meets up with a lovely lady in there that's also a prisoner. Really cool, kind of enjoyable movie. Really low budget, But the movie I thought this was called Absolute Aggression. I watched that before this. I thought it was the same movie because Robert Davi's character was the exact same guy with the same name. He ran a prison where the inmates partook in this virtual reality Running Man type thing where the losers get executed. You said the German guy was in there too. It was like the same darn movie, but even more low budget. And that one was called Absolute Aggression. So I don't know, I think it was the same writer, maybe, or the writer of one directed the other one, but very similar movies. And that one's even lower budget. I don't know if you'd like that one. I enjoyed it. I just kind of like that one. Really looked like they just went to like a Renaissance fair and filmed it, like when they went back in time. Anyway, Cyber Vengeance. I kind of recommend that one. Matthias Hughes wasn't even in it that much. But speaking of Matthias Hughes, he was in this movie. I really enjoyed this, Lone Tiger. This is like a martial arts pro wrestling underground fight movie. It stars this guy Bruce Locke. He plays this Japanese character that comes over from Japan to get revenge on the murder of his father. His father was a pro wrestler called the Great Tiger or something, and he was killed by some sort of gangster in Las Vegas. And he got shot with his mask on, so he wears his father's mask with a bullet hole in it. So he's come back to Vegas after all these years of being in Japan. He got trained by a samurai master. His dad was a pro wrestler, and then his awesome stuff. He comes back to the United States to get revenge. He meets up with like this little these orphan street gang, and they take him in, and he takes care of them. And anyway, Richard Lynch runs these underground fights, and somehow word gets out. He has an investigative reporter work for him. This really hot female, this blonde, is Richard Lynch's like right-hand woman. And Richard Lynch like tears it up, and it's just like always is a really cool villain. His lady associate. He tells her, go find a good fighter. I want a good fighter that can take on the championship wrestler. It's called like the World Wrestling Organization. The champion is Matthias Hughes, and he's called like the Black Tiger. He's like, I never saw him play a pro wrestler before. But his other motivation, Bruce Locke's character, the Lone Tiger, his other motivation not only is to find the murder of his father, but also to fight Matthias Hughes' character, the Black Tiger, because he's like the best pro wrestler in the world in this universe. So anyway, this guy comes to the United States. He gets in with these street orphans. He's taking care of them. Like the pimps and the gangsters come and try to get the kids, but this guy just beats the crap out of them with martial arts and pro wrestling moves. So this lady that's an investigative reporter finds out about this guy, or an investigative private investigator that works for Richard Lynch. She finds out this guy's such a good fighter, so Richard Lynch wants him as a fighter to bet money on. So it kind of turns into like a, what do you call it, like Hard Times or a Lionheart type movie. And Richard Lynch is really crooked. And you don't know whether or not Richard Lynch was the guy that killed his father or not. It's kind of iffy, the first part. Then he gets trained by, what's his name? Robert Zadar, the guy with a big chin. I showed Mario watched this movie too, and he was like, was that his real chin? Like, the guy, the Maniac Cop guy, and he was on Samurai Cop. That guy, I think that's his real chin. He plays the trainer, and he's always dogging old Lone Tiger, but it has a lot of good fights, silliness. I really love this movie. Cool, like, kind of reminds me of a mixture of Shenmue and pro wrestling and like Lionheart or something, but really low budget though. And then speaking of pro wrestling movies, I have to finish it with this one. Dang, how long have I been going? 39 minutes. The camera says I can only go to 53 minutes before I run out of space. Backyard Dogs. This one was recommended to me by Retro T-Barone. he's big into pro wrestling. He was an independent wrestler before, when he was younger. And he told me about this one. Well, I don't know if he meant like it's so crappy I gotta watch it, or he liked it. I think he meant it was like really crappy and he wanted to torture me. I'm not really big on backyard wrestling. I don't like these poor kids with low self-esteem cutting themselves up and hurting themselves, and it's not even like a real sport. I don't know, it might help some of them out, like at least that they get together and they organize this stuff and try to make money. I maybe shouldn't knock them. I was a referee for a backyard wrestling deal that was pretty good, and I think probably some of the wrestlers are in this movie because it's in my area. This movie's made in Modesto and Sacramento area, so I might have been in that ring they used. Really low budget though, but it's actually like not a bad movie. It's like, it kind of reminds me of an underground fight movie that I like, but take minus underground martial arts fight, add backyard wrestling. And in this universe, I don't know if like the backyard wrestling is supposed to be real or a work. Or maybe sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's about this tag team that want to go on the road and make all this money with this internet. This girl, she's like their manager. She's kind of like an internet whiz, or a money-making whiz of some type. She has a big plan for this tag team. I forget the actor's name. The one guy is the Black Ranger, or the Green Ranger from Power Rangers. He's one of the Rangers, a little black guy. He's really funny in this. I like him. He does all kinds of cool martial arts in the middle of the wrestling matches. And it starts off really cheesy. Like there's this three duo, the girl and the two boys are on the road. They kind of have some tension between each other. It's kind of like a love triangle. And there's some bad guys in there. There's like a rival wrestler they're at it with. But I didn't think it was that bad. I enjoyed it. But it really starts off really cheesy. Like they're wrestling on like mattresses. Like, oh my gosh. Like they're wrestling on mattresses. I guess that's what you got to do if you don't have a ring. But towards the end, like the last venue was really cool. It was like in a wrestling ring inside of like a wrecking yard, and there was all these wrecked cars like piled up around him, and there's fireworks and stuff. But I enjoyed this movie, Backyard Dogs. So I'm glad I found it for $4. Artesian. Ooh. Yeah, it was like when the internet was getting big, so they were trying to make like a little soap opera, like, oh, we're the #1 website on the internet, we're getting the most hits or whatever. And they were trying to make a little soap opera between the two boys and the girl. Am I done? Wow, I made it in under 45 minutes. I hope some of you guys got hyped up by that. It took a lot out of me sitting here in the sun. Yeah, so yeah, thanks again to Jeff. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already. Dvdeez, Nuts, and Popcorn. I also mentioned Corey over at Hardcore Graveyard. Definitely, if you have any interest at all in the old action movies from the 90s, he's interviewed quite a few of the major players back then. That's all I got to say. And I'm going to go get something to eat and something to drink. Oh, later.